My Korean mother-in-law threw my suitcase into the hallway and screamed that I was a poor African gold digger in front of 50 wedding guests. She threw $500,000 at my feet and told me to go back to my village. What she didn't know, I was worth $8 million. And I was about to show her exactly how wrong she was about me. My name is Zara, and I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. By the time I was 25, I'd built a fintech app that revolutionized mobile banking across West Africa. We made financial services accessible to millions of people who'd never had bank accounts. The company grew faster than I'd ever imagined. By 28, my net worth was over $8 million. I had real estate in Lagos, London, and Dubai, a stock portfolio that would make most people's eyes water, and a business that was changing lives across an entire continent. But here's the thing about sudden wealth: it attracts the wrong kind of attention. Growing up, I'd seen what money did to relationships. How people changed when they found out what you were worth. How friendships became transactions. How every romantic interest felt like a business proposal. So I made a decision. When I traveled, I dressed simply. Flew economy sometimes, even though I could afford first class. Stayed in nice, but not extravagant hotels. Drove regular cars. I wanted to meet people who would see me, Zara, not my bank account. That's how I met Junho at a tech conference in Singapore. I was sitting in the hotel lobby, working on my laptop, wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt. My braids were pulled back in a ponytail. Nothing about me screamed millionaire entrepreneur. He sat down near me, struggling with his own laptop. A software engineer from Seoul, trying to fix a bug in his presentation for the next morning's panel. "Excuse me," he said in careful English. "You look like you know your way around code. Could you, maybe, help me?" I looked up. He had kind eyes, a gentle smile. There was something genuine about him that I liked immediately. "What's the problem?" I asked. We spent the next 3 hours fixing his code, then talking about technology, then life, then everything. He bought me street food from a vendor outside. We laughed about the terrible coffee at the conference. He told me about growing up in Seoul, about his dream to make software that helped people. He never asked what I did for a living. Never asked about my family's money. Never seemed to care about anything except the conversation we were having right then. "I'm just a regular developer," he said at one point. "Nothing special. But I love what I do." "That's beautiful," I told him. And I meant it. Over the next 2 days, we were inseparable. Late-night coding sessions at coffee shops. Walking through gardens by the bay. Talking about our dreams, our fears, our favorite movies. On the last night, he said, "I know this is crazy. We just met. But I feel like I've known you forever. Can I see you again? I could visit Lagos. Or you could come to Seoul." I said yes. For the next 2 years, we built something real. Long-distance video calls every day. He visited me in Lagos 3 times. I went to Seoul twice. We fell in love the old-fashioned way, slowly, genuinely, completely. He thought I was a regular tech worker. I'd told him I worked in fintech, which was true. He never asked my exact position or salary. I lived modestly when we were together. He paid for dates sometimes, I paid sometimes. It felt equal. It felt real. When he proposed on my 3rd visit to Seoul, in a small park near his apartment, I cried. Not because of the ring, it was modest, probably cost him a month's salary, but because I knew he loved me for me. "I don't have much," he said, voice shaking. "I'm just a software engineer. But I promise I'll work hard. I'll give you a good life. I'll love you every day." "You already give me everything I need," I whispered. Yes, I'll marry you." That's when I knew I'd have to tell him the truth eventually. But I wanted to wait. Just a little longer. I wanted to meet his family first, as myself, not as my bank account. I should have told him sooner. Junho's mother, Mrs. Choi, came from old Korean money. Her family owned a chain of luxury hotels across Seoul. She'd grown up in wealth, married into more wealth, and expected her only son to marry someone from a proper family. When Junho told her he was engaged to a Nigerian woman he'd met at a tech conference, she went silent on the phone. I was there, listening. I watched his face fall. "Mother wants to meet you," he said after hanging up, trying to smile. "Next week." For dinner. That's good, right? I asked. He hesitated. She can be traditional, but she'll come around. She has to. Once she meets you, she'll see how amazing you are. The dinner was at her house, a massive traditional Korean home in the most expensive part of Seoul. Modern and minimalist on the outside, but filled with antiques and art worth millions inside. I dressed modestly. A simple navy dress, small earrings, minimal makeup. I wanted to make a good impression based on who I was, not what I wore. Mrs. Choi opened the door. She looked at me from head to toe. I saw her eyes linger on my natural hair, my dark skin, my simple dress. Her smile never reached her eyes. "So," she said in Korean, which Junho quickly translated. "You're the one." The dinner was torture. She spoke only Korean the entire time, forcing Junho to translate every sentence. It was a power move, and we both knew it. "What does your father do?" she asked. "He was a teacher," I replied through Junho. "He passed away 3 years ago." "I see. And your mother?" "She sells textiles at the market. Beautiful African fabrics. She's incredibly talented." Mrs. Choi's lips tightened. How quaint. Junho squeezed my hand under the table. "And what do you do for work?" she continued. "I work in financial technology. Mobile banking. In Nigeria." It wasn't a question. It was a judgment. "Yes, in Lagos. It's a growing tech hub. Really exciting developments in the—" "And you think you're suitable for my son?" A woman with no family background, no proper education from a recognized university working in Africa. Junho stood up. "Mother, that's enough. Zara has a degree in computer science. She's brilliant at what she does. And I love her." "Love." Mrs. Choi laughed bitterly. "Love doesn't pay bills, Junho. Love doesn't maintain our family status. Love doesn't protect you from making the biggest mistake of your life." I felt my face burning, but I kept my voice steady. "Mrs. Choi, I understand your concerns. I know this isn't what you expected. But I love your son, and I promise I'll be a good wife to him." She looked at me with cold eyes. "You'll be a burden. Another mouth to feed. Another expense. I know your type. Coming from poverty, seeing a Korean man with a good job, thinking you've won the lottery." That's when I should have told her. Should have pulled out my phone and shown her. But Junho was already pulling me toward the door, apologizing, his face red with shame. In the car, he cried, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know she would be like that. She's never been this cruel." "It's okay, I lied. She'll come around." But she didn't. Over the next 3 months, as we planned the wedding, Mrs. Choi made everything difficult. She criticized every choice I made. Dismissed my family when they flew in from Lagos. Made it clear at every opportunity that she thought I was beneath them. And I took it. Because I loved Junho. Because I thought if I just proved myself through patience and grace, she'd eventually see my worth. I was wrong. Mrs. Choi insisted on paying for the wedding. At first, Junho and I thought it was an olive branch. A sign that she was trying. We were naive. She chose everything. The venue small, barely big enough for 50 people. The flowers, cheap carnations instead of the roses I'd wanted. The food, minimal basic. The dress, oh God, the dress. When I went for the fitting, she'd already chosen it. A outdated, shapeless design that looked like it came from a discount store. It was 2 sizes too big, the color washed me out, and the style was something my grandmother would have rejected. "This is the dress," she said firmly when I tried to protest. "It's appropriate for the occasion." "It doesn't fit," I said carefully. "Could we at least have it altered?" "It's fine as it is. You should be grateful I'm paying for it at all." Junho tried to intervene, but his mother had worn him down over the months. He was caught between his mother and the woman he loved, and it was tearing him apart. "Just wear it," he pleaded with me the night before the wedding. "Please. After tomorrow, we'll be married, and we can start our own life. Away from all this." So I wore the dress. My parents flew in from Lagos. My mother had saved for months to buy a beautiful traditional Nigerian outfit for the occasion. My father had his best suit tailored. They were so proud, so excited to see their daughter get married. Mrs. Choi put them at the back of the venue. Literally the last row, near the kitchen entrance. But they're the bride's parents, Junho protested. And they should be grateful to be here at all, his mother responded. I watched my parents' faces fall. Watched my mother try to smile bravely. Watched my father put his arm around her and whisper something comforting. They'd sold their car to afford the flights. They'd bought gifts for Junho's family. They'd come halfway across the world to celebrate with us. And they were being treated like unwelcome guests at their own daughter's wedding. The wedding morning, I was in the bridal suite, trying to make myself look decent in the horrible dress, when Mrs. Choi burst in. She had 3 of her wealthy friends with her. All of them looked at me with barely concealed disgust. We need to talk, Mrs. Choi said, closing the door. My stomach dropped. I've been patient, she continued. I've tried to accept this. But I can't let my son make this mistake. She pulled out her phone and showed me bank statements. Junho's savings. His salary. His inheritance fund that he'd get when he turned 35. This is what you're after, isn't it? She said. This is why you trapped him. A poor African girl sees a Korean man with money and opportunity, and suddenly you're in love. My hands were shaking. That's not true. I love Junho. I don't care about his money. They all say that. She reached into her purse and pulled out a thick envelope. Here. 500 million won. About 380,000 US dollars. Take it and leave. Go back to Africa. Let my son marry someone appropriate. I stared at the envelope. At the money spilling out of it. At this woman trying to buy me off like I was some kind of street vendor. No, I said quietly. Her face darkened. Excuse me? I said no. I love your son. I'm not leaving him. That's when she lost it completely. She grabbed my suitcase from the corner of the room and started throwing my things into the hallway. Her friends joined in. My clothes, my shoes, my makeup, everything scattered across the corridor outside the bridal suite. Get out, she screamed. Get out of my son's life. You gold-digging, opportunistic. The door was open. Wedding guests in the hallway stopped and stared. I saw my mother rush forward. Saw Junho running toward the commotion. Saw his father trying to hold Mrs. Choi back. You think you can trap my son? Take his money? Ruin his life? Mrs. Choi was screaming now, her face red, her elegant composure completely gone. You poor African nobody. You have nothing. You are nothing. Take this money and disappear. She threw the envelope at my feet. Money scattered across the floor. And something inside me just broke. Not into sadness. Into cold, clear rage. I pulled out my phone. My hands weren't shaking anymore. I felt completely calm. Completely done with being disrespected, dismissed, and degraded. You want to talk about money? I said quietly. The hallway had gone silent. Everyone was watching. Let's talk about money. I opened my banking app. Turned the screen toward Mrs. Choi. Her eyes focused on the number. $8,234,567. I watched the color drain from her face. That's fake, she stammered. Photoshopped. I opened my investment portfolio. Scrolled slowly. Lagos luxury apartments. Current value $2.1 million. London property investment. $1.8 million. Dubai commercial real estate. $1.5 million. Stock portfolio. $1.2 million. Business valuation. Stop, she whispered. But I didn't stop. I pulled up my company profile. Showed her the articles. Forbes 30 Under 30 Africa. Tech Entrepreneur of the Year. CEO of Zara Pay, serving 12 million customers across West Africa. Junho was staring at me, his mouth open. I turned to him. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I wanted you to love me for me, not for what I had. I wanted what we had to be real. Then I turned back to his mother. You threw $380,000 at me like it would change my life. Mrs. Choi, I make that in 3 months. I don't need your son's money. I never did. I don't need his inheritance. I don't need his savings. I don't need anything from your family except respect. My voice was rising now. I came to this wedding with humility. I let you pick this ridiculous dress. I let you treat my parents like servants. I let you insult me, my family, my country, my entire existence. I stayed quiet because I thought I was being the bigger person. I thought if I just endured, you'd eventually see my worth. Tears were streaming down my face now, but my voice stayed strong. But you can't see worth that doesn't come with the right last name or the right skin color. You can't see value that doesn't look like what you expected. You looked at me and saw poverty. You looked at me and saw someone trying to take from your son. I picked up my suitcase. The truth is, I could buy half your hotel chain if I wanted to. I could hire your son at triple his current salary. I could have paid for this entire wedding 10 times over. But I didn't, because that's not what love is about. That's not what marriage is about. I looked at Junho. He had tears running down his face. I love you, I said to him. I love you so much. But I can't marry into a family that treats people like this. I can't spend my life being disrespected because of where I come from. I deserve better than this. I walked toward the elevator. Junho ran after me. Zara, wait. Please. I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me? I turned to face him. The man I loved. The man I'd planned to spend my life with. Would it have mattered? Would you have stood up to her more if you'd known? Or would you have just felt embarrassed that your poor African girlfriend was actually richer than your family? That's not fair, he said, crying. I love you. Not your money. Just you. Then prove it, I said. I'm going back to Lagos. If you love me, if you truly love me for who I am, then you'll fix this. You'll make her understand. You'll stand up for us. And then you'll come find me. Don't go, he begged. Don't leave. We can fix this right now. No, we can't. Your mother just tried to pay me to disappear from your life. She called me a gold digger in front of 50 people. She threw my belongings into a hallway like I was trash. You think we can just go have cake now and pretend that didn't happen? He fell to his knees. Right there in the hotel hallway, in his wedding tuxedo, in front of everyone. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have protected you. I should have stood up to her from the beginning. I was a coward. Please give me a chance to make this right. My heart was breaking. But I couldn't stay. If we're meant to be together, we'll find our way back, I said softly. But right now, I need to go home. I need to remember who I am. I need to be somewhere I'm valued. I got in the elevator. The last thing I saw was Junho on his knees, his mother standing frozen in shock, and my parents rushing to pack their things. We flew back to Lagos that night. For 3 months, I heard nothing from Junho except a single text. I understand. I love you. I'll make this right. I threw myself into work. Expanded Zara Pay into 2 new countries. Hired 50 new employees. Tried to forget the humiliation of that wedding day. But I couldn't forget Junho. Then, on a Tuesday morning, I got a video call. It was him. Don't hang up, he said immediately. Please. Just listen. He looked different. Tired. Like he hadn't been sleeping. I quit my job, he said. What? I quit. I told my mother that if she couldn't respect the woman I love, then I couldn't be part of this family. I moved out. I'm renting a small apartment now. I'm looking for new work. I felt my chest tighten. Junho, I never asked you to. I know. But I needed to. I needed to figure out who I am without my mother's approval. I needed to become the man you deserve. He paused. I'm in therapy. Learning about unconscious bias. Learning about how I enabled her behavior by not standing up to her. Learning how to set boundaries. It's hard. It's really hard. But I'm doing it. For us. For me. Over the next 2 months, we talked every day. He sent me articles he was reading about cross-cultural relationships. About confronting family prejudice. About being a better partner. He flew to Lagos twice. Not to pressure me. Just to show me he was serious. Take all the time you need, he said during his second visit. I'll wait. I'll wait as long as it takes. 6 months after the wedding disaster, I received a package. Inside was a letter. Handwritten. 10 pages long. It was from Mrs. Choi. Dear Zara, it began. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to even read this. But I need to try. She wrote about her own prejudices. Her fear of losing her son. Her obsession with status and appearance. Her realization, watching Junho walk away from everything, that she'd almost destroyed the best thing in his life. You were right about everything, she wrote. I looked at you and saw only what I expected to see. I didn't see your intelligence, your strength, your success, your love for my son. I saw only my own narrow view of what was acceptable. She wrote about going to therapy herself, about reading books on racism and cultural prejudice, about confronting her own biases for the first time in her 60 years of life. I cannot undo what I did. I cannot take back the words I said. But I am trying to become better. Not for you. I haven't earned the right to ask anything of you. But for myself. Because I don't want to be the person I was that day ever again. The letter ended simply. If you give Junho another chance, I promise to respect your marriage. I promise to treat you with the dignity you deserved from the beginning. I promise to welcome you as my daughter, not just tolerate you as my son's choice. I cried reading it. A week later, Junho called. My mother wants to visit Lagos. To meet your family properly. To apologize to your parents in person. Would that be okay? 6 months later, we got married in Lagos. Small ceremony. Just close family and friends. In a beautiful garden overlooking the city. Mrs. Choi attended. She wore traditional Nigerian attire that my mother had helped her choose. She looked uncomfortable but earnest. During the ceremony, she cried. Real tears. When it was time for the families to give their blessings, she stood up. I was wrong about you, she said to me, her voice shaking. I almost cost my son his happiness because of my prejudice and pride. You are strong, successful, intelligent, and kind. You are everything I should have hoped for in a daughter-in-law. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. She turned to my parents. I disrespected you. I disrespected your daughter. I disrespected your country and your culture. I am deeply sorry. Thank you for raising such an exceptional woman. And thank you for giving her another chance with my son. My mother stood up and hugged her. Two women from completely different worlds, finding common ground in love for their children. After the ceremony, I found Mrs. Choi in the garden, talking with my mother about fabrics and business. Thank you for coming, I said. She looked at me with genuine warmth. Thank you for forgiving us. For giving Junho another chance. For being patient enough to let me grow. We all have things to learn, I said. She smiled. Yes. And I'm still learning. Your mother is teaching me about Nigerian textiles. Did you know there are over 250 ethnic groups in Nigeria, each with their own fabric traditions? I laughed. I didn't know that, actually. Of course you did. She paused. I Googled you, you know. After that day. Read every article. Watched every interview. You've accomplished so much. And I almost made you feel small because of my ignorance. The important thing is you're trying to do better now. I am. I really am. Today, Junho and I run a tech startup together, bridging African and Korean markets. We're building something beautiful that combines our skills and our cultures. Mrs. Choi is one of our investors. She visits Lagos twice a year. She's learning Yoruba. She's terrible at it, but she's trying. She and my mother have become unlikely friends, bonding over their shared love of textiles and business. The journey wasn't easy. Trust takes time to rebuild. Forgiveness is a daily choice. But we're here. We're together. We're building something real. I learned that wealth isn't about the money in your account. It's about knowing your worth and never letting anyone diminish it. And Mrs. Choi learned that gold diggers don't turn down $500,000. Sometimes the person you underestimate is the one who ends up teaching you the most important lessons of your life. If this story touched you, smash that like button. Subscribe for more cross-cultural stories. Drop a comment. Have you ever been judged unfairly? See you in the next one.